Protect your privacy online with the #1 rated VPN on the market, ExpressVPN, and get 3 months free when using my referral link. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of my GTA Online Cayo Perico Heist Mastery Guide. Today we're putting everything that I've talked about with the scope out mission into one. This is going to be the final video on the scope out. I'm going to be walking you guys through a scope out and explaining my thought process and strategies as I go through it. Now before we get started, I want to explain the thinking process that I use when I visit each location. We're going to be scoping out this heist with the mindset of doing the heist by yourself because, to be honest, the heist isn't very good with multiple people. And we're also going in with the mindset of getting the elite challenge with the most amount of profits possible. And with that being said, let's pull up the handy dandy table of secondary targets. So to be efficient at this, we're going to be looking for 2 cocaine piles in close proximity of one another, right next to each other ideally. There is a way to get gold solo, but since that's more of an exploit, I don't really want to cover that as a legit strategy just because they're probably going to patch it in the near future anyways. Alternatively, if you find 1 cocaine and have artwork in El Rubio's office, that could also work for your solo strategy. At each location, there are a series of questions that you need to ask yourself to determine your entrance. Number 1, is there 2 coke there? If not, then you can move on to the next landmark. And if there is 2 coke there, then you look for a guard outfit spawn. And if there's no guard outfit spawn, which is highly unlikely considering there are so many of them at each landmark, then you keep that place in mind for later. And if you do find a guard outfit, then you can check for the grappling hook. Now, if you found the grappling hooks, then you basically have your entrance right there. And if you don't find grappling hooks, then it's not that big of a deal since you can still enter by taking out the guards to find the key codes, but I just prefer grabbing the grappling hook because I have shit RNG. Now, arriving at the airfield, this is where our scope out journey begins. I like to run up to the bike first just because it saves time on running later, and you want to head into the hangar first and check the bottom floor loot. Bottom floor, we got 1 thing of cash, so we're just going to ignore that. Next, we'll hop on the box here and check the second floor loot. Again, 1 cash, so ignore it and go back on the bike and head to the other secondary loot spawn at the airfield. One thing of weed, not exactly what we're looking for, so we can just leave this area as it does not contain the loot that we're looking for. Also, keep in mind, you don't even have to get off the bike to take a picture of an item. I'm just doing it here for the sake of the video so you can see the loot easier. Our next destination is the North Dock. I like to go a little bit down the road and then cut into the big field right before we get to the guard and the camera. And then you just head straight to the North Dock, and we're actually going to be going to the back side of the North Dock, which is, I'm sure, different to the way most people do it. You can really do whichever one. I find myself getting caught a lot more when I go through the main entrance, though. Just make sure to watch the minimap for the guard patrolling, and when the time is right, head straight into the building where the secondary targets are located. Here we have 1 cocaine, so I'm going to take a picture of that and then send it over to Pavel. And since a guard outfit spawn is right next to this, I figured I would just check it, and sure enough, we got the guard outfits here. After that, I hop back on the bike and drive a tad bit more to the other secondary target spawn. And it looks like it's going to be a bust here, so we can just check off the North Dock as a potential entrance for us. We're not going to be entering through here. So you can now get back on the bike and head out the main entrance, making sure to stay out of the guard tower's line of sight. The checkpoint part when I first started doing the heist was one of the most annoying things to get past, but this is why you always use the bike over any other vehicle unless you absolutely have to. Instead of sneaking through the main road area, we're going to head to the left towards the makeshift ramp here, and when the time is right, we're going to jump over the gap. From there, we head to the main dock just to check the faraway loot spawn, as it's located a good distance away from the other locations at the main dock. And the way we do this is not quite the traditional method. We're actually going to be going up behind the shed to peek through the hole to see what kind of loot we have. Unfortunately, we had more bad luck and only got one cache, but if you were to get something useful here, you're also able to take a picture through the crack as long as you line it up right, which is very useful. Hopping back on the bike, we're heading for the fields where 2 secondary target spawns are, and again, we're going to go up to the back of the shed. Now, using our third-person camera to our advantage, we were able to see over the wall to notice coke and cache loot, so we head over to the left-hand side of the structure to send a picture of the coke. And now we head for the main objective, the primary target. In this area, you can tell where the signal box is located by looking at the minimap. If there's no guard here, then that means it's on the bottom floor, and if there is a guard, you will have to climb. Not that it makes a huge difference, as we'll be climbing the tower regardless, but it's a nice tip to know. There's also a guard outfit spawn located on the ground floor, so while you're here, you might as well send a picture if you get it to spawn. Once the hack is completed, you can either choose to only scope out the primary target, or you can go through each secondary target's location in the compound for fun, which is what I prefer to do. Realistically though, you should at least check the office for painting spawns. Now at this point, you're either going to be at the top of the tower already, or maybe the middle level, but if you're not, just climb your way all the way to the top. At the top, first of all, check the grappling hook spawn just in case. This tower helps out a lot with scoping out the island. Not only will it give you transportation, but we're also going to be using it as a vantage point to scope out all the spawn points for the cargo truck. Simply take out your camera, and the first spot we're going to check is the front of the compound. So it's not there, you'd be able to see it through the little trees if it was. But how about the main dock? Nope, not there either. So it's not the main dock, which means it has to be at the north dock because we did not see it at the airfield either when we checked that. And as you can see very faintly in the distance, you can see the truck. And just like that, we scoped out every cargo truck spot in a matter of seconds. I've experimented with different points of interest that you can see from up here. At the main docks, you can just barely see the color of the guard outfit that spawns here. In this case, it's not there, so you don't see any color, but if it was, you would just barely be able to see it. But yeah, the next thing we do is jump off the tower and pull the parachute right away, and then just glide down to exactly where I do in this video, in the middle part of the main docks. From behind these wooden planks, we can see inside of that secondary loot compound while maintaining our distance from the guard that patrols over there. And finally, we hit the jackpot with a double coke location, so we'll send both of those pics to our boy Pavel. After that, I ran over to the nearest grappling hook spawn just because it's very close to here, and sure enough, the grappling equipment was there. And now the only thing left to find are guard outfits nearby, so I ran up the road to check the one next to the green building, and I just peeked inside the secondary target building just to see if there was anything interesting, and there wasn't even a secondary target to begin with in there, so that was pretty surprising. Didn't find guard outfits there, so I ran to the next closest guard outfit spawn just a few hundred feet away. And there was nothing there either, which was pretty bad luck for me. Now, I actually messed up during my gameplay because I actually forgot about one spawn point, which I then remembered after the fact. I actually went back to check the other spawn at the other side of the main dock, forgetting about the container spawn, so ideally you'd check that first, which was where my outfit was located in this run. And that pretty much seals the deal right there. We have 2 coke, a grappling hook, and guard outfits all in one area at the main dock, which means we will go with the long fin approach, collecting the guard outfits, the grappling hook, and the secondary targets before heading to the main compound. And then once you're done scoping out the island, just get caught by one of the guards to teleport you back to the airfield before leaving. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you already kind of knew how to scope out the island, I hope I was able to at least teach you a new strategy or two with the main tower. And if you did find it helpful, feel free to leave a like, as well as subscribe to my channel for more guide and PvP related content. Huge thank you to all my channel members for support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button, or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a great day.